Do you ever find yourself playing Guitar Hero drums, knowing you hit all the notes, but the score screen says otherwise? Do the different iterations of the games feel completely different, causing you to miss notes? Does playing Guitar Hero 5 want to make you scream at the TV for longer than is healthy? The Guitar Hero franchise is known for its confusing and annoying issues. From broken charts to the engine being outright busted, this video aims to explain the most egregious issues that plague each entry in the Guitar Hero series. But first, before I talk about charts and broken engines, I want to define exactly what a Guitar Hero chart is. After Activision purchased Red Octane, Guitar Hero games were built using the Tony Hawk game engine, which utilizes a scripting language called QScript. QScript is compiled into QB files and can handle various types of data, from basic variables like integers and strings to more complex structures such as arrays, lists of elements, and structs, variables that can contain other variables, including arrays and other structs. QScript also allows scripting using a C-like language. All Neversoft Guitar Hero games are being driven by QScript. Unlike Rock Band, which uses MIDI, a standardized format, for its note charts, and subsequently has the game parse the files into playable notes, Guitar Hero uses a precompiled array of integers in QScript for each note. Neversoft initially charted the songs using MIDI, then converted them into a QB file to be read by the game. Each difficulty has its own array. For drums, guitar, and bass, the first integer in the array specifies when to display the note, in milliseconds, while the second integer combines information about which colors to display, the note's length, and whether it's an accent, all encoded in binary. All notes are placed in this array, ordered by the millisecond value. Sometimes, the way notes are charted results in broken charts. While these songs are still playable and a perfect score is possible, they require extremely precise timing. For example, in Hotel California, during the section Solo D, there's a problematic section that has toms with kicks underneath. The chart has these notes represented as two entries in the QB file, one for the kick and one for the tom. This can make it difficult to hit the notes correctly. When converted back to MIDI and looking at the lengths, you can see that the kicks were charted as 32nd notes and the hand notes were charted as 64th notes. This apparently caused the MIDI parser Neversoft used to generate two entries at the same time. Because of this, they must be hit in the order they appear in the note list. The hand notes are generated first, so they must be hit first before the kick to properly hit the notes. When hitting these notes, they add 2 to the note streak instead of 1, like properly charted kick plus hand notes. Fun fact, this yellow note is a single millisecond longer than the kick, causing the double entry. This even happens to songs later in the series, like Put Your Records On in Band Hero. There's also broken notes involving sustains. While playing drums, you'll sometimes see long notes that have a tail. These are called sustains. The way the game handles these notes is a bit different from regular notes and introduces another version of broken notes. When you hit a sustain note, the game allows you to keep hitting the drum pad every so often, so you don't have to be as precise. This is because the game treats the note as active while the tail is still visible. You only need to hit the pad once in a while to keep the note going until the tail ends. Things can get tricky when there's a mix of regular notes and sustain notes at the same time. If the sustain is before the regular note in the game's internal list, everything works fine. You hit the sustain, keep it active, and then hit the other note within the timing window. However, the game handles things differently if the sustain comes after a regular note in the list. The game expects you to hit the regular note first. If you accidentally hit the sustain before the regular note, the game thinks you've missed that regular note, even though it's still technically in the strike line area. The Neversoft MIDI parser appeared to parse the notes left from right starting on green and ending with the kick. If notes of different lengths were found at the same time, the leftmost notes would be entered into the list first, followed by notes to the right. This is why a sustained note on the right is broken, as it needs to be hit after the non-sustained note, otherwise the non-sustained note will be considered missed due to it appearing before the sustained note in the note list. These are the two types of broken notes. While I won't go through every instance of a broken note in this video, I hope you now understand how broken notes work and how they affect gameplay. Now, let me talk about each game and how it frustratingly affects the ability to full combo, or FC, them all, starting with World Tour. Guitar Hero World Tour was Neversoft's first implementation of drums for the Guitar Hero franchise. It was alright for a first attempt, but if you're ever finding yourself playing Hot for Teacher and you hit all the notes, you'll be met with a 99% on the results screen, and the stats screen will show 4 missed notes every time. This bug occurs because the number of notes in the drum chart differs from what the game counts as a note. The issue with Hot for Teacher is because of the 4 sustained cymbal notes with kicks underneath near the end of the song. A single notes entry could only contain 1 length value, so what Neversoft ended up doing is splitting this 3-color combination note into 2 note entries. One for the kick note with a short length, and one for the 2 cymbals with a longer length so that the sustained tails show up. Although the notes have different lengths, this does not result in a broken note like explained before. When the game reads these entries, it sees that there are 2 note entries at the same time, with one containing sustains, and combines them into 1 playable note, and the note streak only increases by 1. However, it seems that the final note count in the stats screen is based on the total number of entries in the list, and not the total number of playable notes in the note list, causing this discrepancy. There's also the case of Overkill. It has similar sustains on top of kicks, like in Hot for Teacher, causing the total note count to be inflated. But there is also a bizarre case of these 3 kick notes near the end of the song being near unhittable. If you hit them as the notes cross the strike line, you will miss. But if you don't hit them, you will keep your combo until the yellow sustain note afterwards, and you'll drop the combo even if you hit the yellow. For some reason, the hit window for all 3 of these kick notes is the same as the yellow sustain. To hit these notes, you're supposed to hit the first 2 of these 5 kicks as normal, purposefully miss the next 3, hit your bass pedal 3 times and then the yellow, all in the same time span, only to not break combo. Your note streak will not increase by 4 if you do this, although it does when the bot plays this section. You'll only get credit for hitting the yellow. The weird thing is that there is nothing really blatantly wrong in the chart that could cause this. The notes look just like normal kick notes in the chart file. The only thing I could think of that may cause issues is the sudden drop in tempo of the chart. Perhaps dropping to tempos this low causes some weirdness with the notes, but we'll probably never know for sure. While these glitches are unfortunate, it's only the beginning of Guitar Hero's issues. Guitar Hero Metallica introduced Expert Plus, a new difficulty that would allow drummers to play double bass notes with both their feet, and with it came new drum bugs. First, Neversoft did end up fixing the total notes bug from World Tour, starting with Metallica. In these games, when a kick note appears with sustained notes, they are still split up into 2 entries in the chart file, but the total note count at the end of the song only goes up by 1 instead of 2. Meaning songs like Hit the Lights, which have multiple instances of sustained notes over kicks, can be properly full comboed. However, Expert Plus introduced a new bug. You see, from a technical standpoint, instead of making it its own list of notes, Expert Plus utilizes one of the unused bits in the note entry integer and made it the Expert Plus kick note in the normal drum array. It's this one here. When you play an expert chart on an Expert Plus song, the game will check to see if a note only contains an Expert Plus note and ignore it, both for the note count and for the playable notes. But they did not account for the opposite, as in when there is a kick only on Expert that's not found in Expert Plus. What the game ends up doing for Expert Plus is read all the note entries and make the playable notes as before. When it gets to an entry that only has an Expert kick note, it doesn't create a playable note, but it still adds 1 to the note count for the song, causing the songs that have this situation to have a note count greater than the number of playable notes. The logic here is that these triplet kicks in The Shortest Straw don't easily reduce to a single pedal version, so instead of just removing notes, they instead placed one expert note in the middle of the expert plus notes. These two notes are what is played in expert plus, but the single expert note still gets added to the note count. This is extremely rare, but it happens in both Metallica and Smash Hits. Metallica's The Shortest Straw has 128 notes found in the expert chart that aren't in the expert plus chart, and Cowboys from Hell in Smash Hits has 4 of them, causing these songs to never be 100%able. These issues, while annoying, are nothing compared to what Guitar Hero 5 would usher in. The Neversoft code monkeys were hard at work with this entry. They completely changed the format of the charts to be in its own file. They didn't fix the bug present in Metallica and Smash Hits though, as The Shortest Straw, when exported, still only gives you 94% when hitting all the notes on Expert Plus. Sounds like business as usual, right? Wrong. Guitar Hero 5 added the biggest game-breaking bug out of all the entries in the entire series, this time to do with Expert. I believe Neversoft was so focused on making Expert Plus functioning decently that they completely overlooked its single pedal variant. When playing Expert in this game, and there are sections of a song containing Expert Plus notes, it's only possible to hit the Expert kicks late. Normally, when a note comes down the highway, you have a certain amount of time before and after the strike line to hit a note. Approximately 100 milliseconds before the line, called the front end, and 100 milliseconds after, called the back end, for a total of 200 milliseconds to hit the note. According to a conversation I had with DayZ, aka Nolan, kick notes on Expert in sections with double bass on Expert Plus have their front end timing window completely removed, making it necessary to hit all notes in these sections late. This affects only the sections with extra kicks on Expert Plus, but it makes on-disc songs like Scatterbrain Live and Done With Everything Die For Nothing exponentially more difficult to full combo. Also, since Guitar Hero doesn't support negative calibration, there isn't an easy workaround for this issue. You just have to tough it out if you want to achieve an FC on disc. Most players subconsciously expect the timing window of all notes to be the same, so this inconsistency is incredibly frustrating. Neversoft actually acknowledged that this bug existed in an article from January of 2010, and mentioned that they would not ever fix it for Guitar Hero 5, as their standard of playability was that their resident drummer could finish the Children of Bodom song found on disc. He could not come close to hitting 100% of notes though, as he could only get about 92%, and it took him multiple attempts to do so. But they did say that future games would have it fixed. And they did. Band Hero came out a few months after Guitar Hero 5, and expert charts could finally be played normally, assuming you have downloadable content or imports, since there were no on-disc songs in Band Hero that utilized Expert Plus. However, it is quite baffling that they never fixed it for Guitar Hero 5, as downloadable content continued to be released, being affected by the same broken mechanics. Side note, interestingly, the PlayStation 2 version of Guitar Hero 5 never had this issue, most likely because the game's engine resembles its predecessor, Guitar Hero World Tour, much more closely. Band Hero did fix the expert bug, but did come with an issue of its own. Some of its songs, like Put Your Records On, feature broken notes that result in an inflated note streak. The same bug is also present in Guitar Hero 5 when these songs are exported. If you manage to get around the broken section and hit all the notes, the score shows 522 out of 521 notes hit, due to the extra note entry that should not be there. This bug, fortunately, did not impact gameplay significantly, but it does highlight the persistent issues within the series. As I was recording the outro for this video, another issue came to light, thanks to the boys over at Lore Hero. It turns out that all games prior to Warriors of Rock had a bug with its extended sustains, and there was a chance where if you hit the sustain, you'd actually lose points. For example, here in World Tour, in the song Antisocial, you can see the sustain being hit, but as it ends, the points are actually deducted. And it even happens in games like Guitar Hero 5, such as in this video here, where the sustain is hit, and again, points are deducted. It seems to be consistent where the same sustains in the song will lose the same amount of points, but it is not consistent in what sustains actually are affected. Some sustains behave normally, while others have this point reducing bug. Alright, we're here. The last Guitar Hero entry with drums. Surely Neversoft has got it figured out now, right? I mean, the biggest bug in this series so far was fixed with Band Hero. There should just be small issues to fix to make the game perfect. So what about the issue with the note count being inflated when there are notes in the expert chart that don't exist in Expert Plus? Let's take a look at our favorite example, the shortest straw. So, in case you missed it, instead of adjusting the note count to only have Expert Plus notes, the misaligned Expert notes are instead just added to the chart. I hypothesize that what happened here is one of two situations. 1. Neversoft revamped the chart parsing logic so that charters only needed to chart the extra Expert Plus notes and forgetting about situations like the shortest straw. Or 2. This is an unintentional bug that went unnoticed due to its rarity. Looking at the charts themselves and seeing that all Expert Plus charts in Warriors of Rock and its downloadable content still have all double kick notes charted, and not just the extra notes that would get added, I'm inclined to lean towards it being an unintentional bug. It's unfortunate because it makes the handful of songs affected that much harder. And Neversoft were so close. Warriors of Rock really fixed a lot of issues with drums. They even fixed broken notes. Earlier, I mentioned Put Your Records On having a broken note, and it would result in a score of 522 over 521. But even this was fixed, as it now gives a proper streak of 522 over 522, and the notes don't have to be hit in a certain order anymore. It's unfortunate then that Expert Plus players got hit with this extra note bug. If there's any kind of silver lining, it is that at least these extra notes are hittable, provided you have the skill to do so. Meaning you can get a full combo of all songs on drums, but it is incredibly difficult to do so. The shortest straw didn't get its full combo until July of 2021, over 10 years after the game and the chart came out. If that doesn't speak to the absurdity of the situation, I don't know what will. I hope that if Guitar Hero ever gets revived in the future with drums intact, that the developers put a little more time into making sure that all instruments are functional and free of game-breaking bugs. Who knows? Perhaps now that Microsoft owns the IP, they will give the future developer enough resources to properly test the game. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed my deep dive into Guitar Hero drums mechanics. Each iteration brought new features and fixes, but also complexities and bugs. This is a little bit of a departure from my usual videos, but as I've gotten more familiar with the Guitar Hero mechanics and released the missing exports, which you can find over here, I wanted to share my findings into other parts of the game. If you enjoy these types of dives into video game mechanics, please let me know with a comment below, give me a like, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching!